Assalamualaikum everyone, my name is Iffat and I am 11 years old, level 1 student of Rehan School Online Academy. So this is our podcast with Love Miceale. So we will.
So nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
Okay. So I also nice to meet you. Thank you so much. So first of all, I would like to introduce yourself to my viewers and audience.
Yes, my name is Michaela. A lot of people have nicknamed me Love because of my humanitarian efforts. I've been volunteering with the homeless for about 13 years, maybe even longer than that now. And my background is in social work. So I like to help with social justice and any issues that have to do with ethics. I also am the executive director at Lovely Hearts nonprofit, which helps with community service, purposeful travel, and spreading education internationally.
That's really interesting for me and my audience. So listen it. So thank you so much. I am in now California. Okay, interesting. So now my first question is about your journey and life. Can you tell us about your early life in California?
Yes, that's a great question. So, since I work internationally, most of the time when I wake up around 6 to 8 a.m., I usually try to check up on messages. I will talk with some of my friends like you and in Pakistan. And I also interact with some of my friends and colleagues in Cambodia. Um, I am a caregiver, so I work for 3 to 4 different agencies where we take care of people that are on hospice care, which is like towards the end of their life, or if they have an injury or maybe they have Alzheimer's. So that's usually what I do during the day. I also have 2 children, so I take care of my children, and I I help out a lot with different organizations. So actually today I'm leaving for a conference a few hours away, and I am one of the representatives from District 9 in California for the California PTSA convention.
Okay, so that's really amazing, interesting. So now my question is that were you always passionate about helping others?
No, I wasn't actually. That's a great question, and nobody's asked me that question before. To be honest, I'm a little bit of an only child. I have a brother, but he was adopted when I was about I, I was a teenager actually. But there was one significant thing that happened when I was a young adult that really changed my perspective. I lost my grandfather. My grandfather had a stroke, and my best friend had died. They had both died in the same week. And it was extremely difficult for me. And especially with both of them, I didn't know that they were going to pass away. So it really changed my perspective because I finally had a chance to say, like, is this really who I want to be? And the answer at that time was no. I had been selfish. And so, I think that was kind of when I changed my perspective and I realized, like, is this really the legacy that I want to leave? And I realized, no, I want to be able to help others. I want to be able to do everything that I can. And so that was a big wake up call to me when my grandfather had a stroke.
Okay, so amazing answer. Thank you so much. So now my question is that what role did your community play in shaping your purpose?
Oh, can you repeat that one more time?
I sure, why not? So my question is that what role did your community play in your shaping your purpose?
I still can't hear you very well. Do you mind saying it a little bit louder?
I sure. So my question is that what role did your community play in shaping your purpose?
Well, one of the schools that I went to was Cal State San Marcos. This is a very well-known school, and that is one of the schools that kind of led me to figure out what I wanted to do. Because, I didn't actually know what I wanted to do until I had kids. Growing up as like around your age, I didn't really know. The only thing that I did realize, I had read a book after my schooling, and it was about Mother Teresa. And that was kind of the moment when I decided, like, oh my gosh, there's somebody that she dedicated her whole life to helping others. And so that was kind of the time when my perspective changed as well.
Okay, so this is really amazing. So now my next question is about that. Can you tell us why did you choose California State University San Marcos?
Yes, I graduated in 2016. I was in the social work program. So it's ironic because they actually didn't have a program when I started at that school. Uh, it basically, colleges have to be accredited to be accepted, or else anyone could just say that they have a school. And so when I was in my first year, the school actually became accredited for the social work program. So I was in the first graduating class that was accredited.
Okay, amazing answer. So now my next question is that what was your most valuable learning experience in college?
Hmm. Oh, you know what? I have a good answer for you. We had an activity in one of my classes. So the way that my graduation class was, there was only like about 34 of us that graduated together. Okay. So basically we would all have the same classes, but we would kind of have to move around. But if you think about it, we were together for 2 years. So, and we're very stressed out. We had a lot of like big tests and finals. So sometimes we were kind of like butting heads like this, right? And so I remember at one point there was a lot of tests coming up and everybody was arguing because we were all kind of stressed out. We had been staying up late studying, losing sleep. And our teacher did an activity with us. And he said, okay, what we're going to do is we are all going to write a secret on a sticky note. And so every single person wrote a sticky note, and then we put it all in, I think it was like a box or something. I can't remember. But anyways, what he did is he had every single student come up, pick a sticky note, read it out loud, and then put it on the wall. And what we realized is that a lot of people had been through very, very traumatic situations that led them to want to help others as a social worker. So it was really eye-opening for me because I didn't really connect with some people in my class. And I'm a very open person. I like to share. I like to talk about things. And it kind of changed my perspective, realizing, wow, even if these people don't talk to me about what they've been through, we've been through similar things. So that was very eye-opening for me.
Okay, so that's a wonderful answer. Thank you so much. So now my next question is that how has your education influenced your career path?
Yes. It has definitely encouraged my career path in both ways, because I had a career before I had an education. And when I had that career, I felt like I wanted to do more, but I didn't know more. So I felt very stagnant in my career. So I was at the same job for about 8.5 years, and I felt like I wasn't really getting ahead. So that was one thing that led me to my education. The other thing I would say is that it's really important to study, whether you're in high school, whether you're in elementary school, or even if you're like 90 years old, it doesn't matter. It's very, very important because no matter what, things are always changing with research. So I would say that when I was in my college program, I learned about a lot of jobs that I would not have realized that would be needed for social workers. For example, if somebody's on the news, or even if they're an actor or an actress, they work with a social worker who helps to make sure that they're comfortable on set. If they're working at a TV station, there's a social worker that's in the HR department that helps with any type of concerns. So it was really interesting to me because my perspective, just not really knowing what social work was, I thought, well, maybe these are people that help with like children in really traumatic situations. I didn't really want to do that. And so it was very eye-opening seeing that there's social work in so many different careers.
Okay, amazing. Great answer. So now my next question is about your career. So how did you start your career in a humanitarian works?
Yes. So I actually didn't know what I wanted to go to college for. And so it's very interesting. I know my mom won't appreciate me sharing this story, but I'm going to share it anyways. So I was accepted into a college, and I felt like the time wasn't right. Just, something wasn't really lining up. At the time, I was working with a close friend's grandmother who was on hospice care. And I was the only one helping take care of this grandmother. And so when my mom had asked me, like, hey, apply for college, I just kind of blew her off, to be honest. And she ended up helping me apply, and I was accepted. But I didn't really feel that, I just didn't want to do it. I felt like something was not right yet. And so I was telling my mom over and over, I don't want to go to college. This isn't the right time. It's not that I'm against college, but it just felt like something wasn't aligning. And ironically, she was like taking me and forcing me. No, you got accepted. Why would you not go to college, right? And so we went to the office at the college together, and they actually told us that we were one day late paying for school. So I was actually like kind of, discontinued as a new student. And so, but I know my mom was very heartbroken about that situation, but in my head, I wasn't, because I knew that I would not have showed up as a good student at that period. I was not motivated. I was focused on other things. I had very small children. So the next year, I was walking through my mom's house, actually, and her phone rang, which is really weird in itself because her phone never rings on the house. So I picked up the phone, which I never, ever do. And they asked for me, and they found out that, they said, congratulations, you've just been accepted into this program. And I didn't know what it was. So I ended up calling them back, and they told me I was accepted into the social work program. So for me, I think it's all about timing. And it's all about being willing to learn, because there's no point of going to a school or a class or whatever if you're not really going to focus and really try to use that, the things that you're taught. That's the most important part.
Okay, so that's really amazing. So now my next question is that can you share your journey from IHSS Riverside to San Diego?
Yes. So IHSS is a really important program. It's a federal funded program. And this program is called In-Home Support Services. So this is a job that I started about 15 years ago as a caregiver. And they have different counties, and they have different pay versus each different county. So I started working for IHSS San Diego. I switched to IHSS Riverside to work with my good friend, who I'm actually visiting shortly in a few hours, my friend Anthony Carbajal. He is a big advocate for ALS. And so anyways, in-home support services helps people that may need extra assistance get the caregiving that they need. So basically, they have a caregiver that shows up. I'm sorry, a social worker. Like I told you, social workers help make sure that everything's functioning. And so they showed up, and they kind of ask you, like, hey, do you need help with doing the dishes? Do you need help with making your own meals? Are you able to drive yourself to doctor's appointments? Do you think that you can physically shower yourself on your own? So these are the questions that they ask everybody. And so they have a big list that they go through each individual client with to see their needs assessment and what they would need help with. So IHSS was a very pivotal moment for me, because since it is funded by the government, the pay is not very well, but there is a lot of opportunity for this program to do better. One of the situations that came up as I was a caregiver for my good friend that I mentioned to you, and this was many years ago, by the way, but what happened was he wasn't getting enough caregiving. And so me and him went to the office together. Mind you, at the time, my friend was in a wheelchair, and he struggles because with ALS, your muscles kind of break down. So he struggles with simple tasks like even, drinking water or something. And so when we went to the office and we said, hey, he needs more caregiving hours, they actually told me, well, you shouldn't be leaving him alone. And it was like such a weird comment, because we were there to get more support for him. But instead, they were trying to like penalize me for advocating for him. So it was really interesting, but it really made me reassess how we have these state, federal programs that help people, and how we need to individualize each program for each person's needs, because not everyone's going to have the same needs. So yeah, I really, I do enjoy working for IHSS. It's a good program.
Okay, so that's really amazing answer. Thank you so much. So now my next question is, what challenges did you face working in IHSS?
Yes. Ooh, I kind of already answered one of those questions. So the other question would be that since there is a lower pay on IHSS caregivers, there's like the ethical concern. Should somebody pay a little bit of their own money while giving their caregiver the money from IHSS, and also, making sure that they feel valued and taken care of? So that's one of the ethical dilemmas with IHSS. The other thing is, there's a different pay rate versus when you're working in San Diego versus when you're working in Riverside. But the job is it's the exact same. So why is there a different pay rate? Why is it that if I go to San Diego, I might be making a little bit more, but if I work in Riverside, I'm making less? It doesn't really make sense. So like I mentioned to you, this program is definitely flawed, but it does, it has very many great benefits. The other thing I really like is that it really does help caregivers be able to take time off, because we do have paid time off with IHSS. So, and you can also get healthcare benefits and stuff like that.
Okay, so amazing answer and very full. So now my next question is, what inspired you to become an international traveler?
Ooh, you know what? I would say my parents because my mom and my stepdad, they used to take me all over the place when I was growing up. So I always came from the perspective with my family where we can learn from traveling, where traveling is a benefit and where it's something that would help us grow. So I've always had that perspective. There has been many, many times where I have just gone with the flow. I think sometimes people think like, oh, like, I don't know if I should do this because it's different. But honestly, I feel like that's when we grow the most. So I think that one of my most interesting trips that I had, I went with my best friend and his family to London. And when we were there, I could barely afford anything. And you know what? I had the best time because I still went for it. And even if I wasn't spending a lot of money, I was having a great time and I was taking everything in. So I just really appreciate that, the everything that traveling has taught me.
Okay, so that's really a amazing answer. Uh, so my next question is that uh, what are your responsibility as a production coordinator?
For a what? What was the last part that you said?
Okay, I repeat your question. So my question is that what are your responsibility production coordinator?
Well, our responsibility is to look out for the people around us, and to speak up when we see any injustice happening. There is there was statistics I want to say a few decades ago, but it basically looked at a crime that happened in New York. And even though a crime happened in the middle of the street in the alleyway where hundreds of people saw, nobody reported it because they all thought, hey, somebody else will do this. And the truth is, that doesn't happen. We all have a personal responsibility to step up when we see somebody that needs help, when we see a situation that needs improving. And so this is just part of growing, is knowing when to take that step and to show action.
Okay, so that's really amazing answer. So now my next question is that okay. So what which rules you have been most meaningful to you so far?
Ooh. Um, there's so many different ones, and I feel that I learn from every single one. So I think that it just varies. It depends.
Yeah, Sarai. Thank you so much for your answer. So now my next question is that yes. So can you describe a mission that had a deep impact on you?
Yes. So I during COVID, I was part of a great organization. I wouldn't even say an organization, I'll say a collective. So a lot of people from around the community that wanted to look out for others. So what we ended up doing is we would reach out to each other, and we went to an organization in Oceanside, and they would provide hundreds and hundreds of meals every single day for people that were unhoused during COVID. And so this was a very, very meaningful job. And this was also where I got to know a lot of people that were giving back and helping. So it was very meaningful. And I think during that time too, I think that we would pass out about 200 meals a day. So it was a lot of work every single day during COVID.
Okay. Okay, so now my next question is that how can young people get involved in humanitarian work?
Yes, it's very important to do humanitarian work. I would say that the best way to get involved would be to reach out to organizations that you admire. Maybe ask them what are some things that that you might need to know to prepare yourself for a role helping them. A lot of organizations also offer free training. So, for example, like Rady Children's Hospital, that's one of our biggest, most advanced hospitals in California and around here. And they have a free training that helps people be trauma informed. So it's really good to ask if there's other opportunities available.
Okay, so that's really amazing answer. Okay, so now my next question is that yes, so what are your biggest challenges facing in global communities?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Okay, so here's my last question with you. Can you tell me what are the biggest challenges facing in global communities?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say the lack of empathy. I think that empathy is very, very important, and we have to be able to connect with others and to see what they're going through. So I think that the biggest devastation lately has been the lack of empathy, the lack of connecting with others, and that's going to be something that is going to get harder, which is why it's so important to lead with empathy.
Okay, so that's an amazing answer. So thank you so much for giving me a purpose time for me, and thank you so much again and again. So we will end the session. So thank you so much. Allah Hafiz and take care.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.